Okay, so my name is Jessica Bradley. I'm a doctoral researcher in the School of Education at the University of Leeds. Tess approached Louise and me to find out whether we'd be interested in running a day for the Out There Challenge based on the work that we've been doing together. So my research is in language, in communication, and I research how people communicate across languages and cultures when they're working together to produce pieces of collaborative art, for example, street theatre, or when making visual arts together. Louise is an artist researcher, so she's just finished her PhD in the School of Fine Art, History of Art and Cultural Studies at Leeds, and we've been working a lot together to run workshops for children and young people in different places across Leeds, based on my research, based on her artistic practice, and both our experiences of working in engagement and outreach settings with children and young people. So we decided with Tess that we'd be quite interested in using some of the arts-based methods and the way that we've brought in visual arts and language together to see how that would work with a group of undergraduate and postgraduate students, introducing arts-based methods as a way of learning, as a way of dealing with data, as a way of analysing data, and a way of presenting research, using the lens of the linguistic landscape, which is the languages around us in the streets and the communities, everywhere we go, as a way of thinking about quite big questions. And so today's big question was, what is culture? Which is obviously a huge question that people are constantly asking, and there's no right answer. It's also quite an interesting question in terms of different perspectives and different ways of thinking about culture, and how our own understandings of culture are shaped by our own cultures. So we started with this big question, which is, what is culture? We got people to think about what culture is from their perspective, what we might mean, what the word means, what the word means to them, different approaches to culture. And then we worked from the city's cultural strategy, looking at how the city is interpreting culture, what they are looking to achieve from having a culture strategy. We talked about the Leeds 2023 bid as well. But the focus of the day was to think about what culture might mean and how we might interpret it. And also then at the end of the day to come together with findings that could then inform the city's cultural strategy going forward. Oh, I've been really happy with the response. I've been really delighted actually. Right from the beginning, the students got involved. They wanted to discuss the question. They worked together really, really well, and they've come up with some really incredibly interesting insights. And I'm really delighted with how they took up the arts activities, even though many of them aren't from arts backgrounds, and using drawing, painting on cardboard was probably not the kinds of techniques that they might use in their studies, for example in physics. But what's been really nice about it is how engaged everyone's been, and how on task, and how they went out and they explored parts of the city that they might not have been to before, and came back with really interesting things to say about Leeds. I think there's so much potential for projects like the Out There Challenge, because it is so important for students to come out of the university and to engage with what's happening in the wider city around them. But also, it's really important for the city to hear what students say about what's happening, about strategies like the culture strategy, and to really get their input as residents of the city, as people who are contributing to the city, and as very, very important people within the city, and people who may also want to come carry on living in Leeds once they finish. Well, I think what was really interesting as well was students immediately had a critical response, which I was really pleased about. So they immediately engaged with the question about culture and ideas around top-down, bottom-up approaches to culture very, very critically and in a very engaged way, and I was really pleased with the way that they did that. And that also raised some really interesting questions for me as well in the way that I do my research.